Good morning, America. I hope you all had a great 4th of July. I know we did. We went out to watch the baseball game at a local stadium and they had fireworks afterwards and had a great time. Did a pancake breakfast with our church in the morning and had a little kiddie parade too that went with it. So, just good all American fun. Um, had a great 4th of July. So I hope you did too. Talking about freedom. We talked about our rights yesterday, and today I want to talk about how do you have financial freedom, which is not something that's talked about a lot. So, personal finance, I know those words sound almost as bad as taxes, but this is how people avoid taxes. This is how you find freedom in your own life. And we're not going to be diving too deep into it, but that's going to be the topic for today. Welcome back, everybody. It's a Friday after the 4th of July. Um, Most people, I imagine, are not working today, or as many as possible have taken the day off. Most of my staff has taken the day off today, but I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm working half a day today. So, again, I'm going to try to make this a little bit of a fun, informational meeting today, but we're going to talk about financial literacy. But first, we're going to get to some of the news, which dovetails end of the topic for the day as we go through this. So, first article, I'm going to go ahead and share this. This is from irs.gov. Um, Actually, a couple things. First thing here is disaster relief for three different states. So, Alaska, Maine, and Rhode Island, and it lays out the counties in each state. For Alaska, it's the Wrangell Cooperative Association of Alaska Tribal Nation. In Maine, Cumberland, Hancock, Knox, Lincoln, Sagadoc, I'm sorry, Waldo, Washington, York. For Rhode Island, Kent, Newport, Providence, and Washington. That's probably all of Rhode Island. Again, different emergencies, two different sides of the country, but this is where they've had disaster declarations declared. If you need help, you're in a mess. Go through the details of this, exactly what it helps. You have 2023 partnership and S corporations that were due March 15th. Individual tax returns due on April 15th. So these are the different returns, quarterly estimated tax payments only due on April 15th and June 17th. So two different estimated estimated quarterly tax payment deadlines. And then you have normal due date for returns unless you have an extension, and then calendar year returns by tax exempted organizations. So read through this if this applies to you. It's just some of the other ones that have been declared in Massachusetts, Hawaii, and Ohio. So special relief for those involved in the terrorist attacks on Israel from October 7th, 2024. So be mindful that if you had something happen, the IRS does actually provide some relief or time to deal with this. But again, managing your finances, but also managing planning for disasters and emergencies are very, very key. So if you've lost documents, if you've lost information, most of that stuff should be either on a cloud, ideally on the cloud. That way, if something happens to a computer, it gets stolen, gets destroyed, you still have access to it and you can go somewhere else and still download that information. So the next article is also from the IRS. New scam, and I've actually seen this already. Clean energy tax credits. So there are companies out there pushing this, and I've seen this come from another attorney asking about this. You have to, not only do you have to qualify to purchase it, you have to have the right kind of income to offset this. And this is where it gets fun. So individuals purchasing tax credits are subject to the passive activity rules for any purchase credits. That means they can only use purchase credits to offset income tax from passive activity, and most investment activities are not considered passive. So they're trying to sell these things. It really gets into the nitty gritty, and um, be careful when anybody's selling something like this. If it sounds too good to be true, talk to an expert CPA that is familiar with this, and can steer you in the right direction. So again, be very again be aware of they're labeling this a new scam, mainly because people are purchasing and trying to use it when it doesn't really apply to them. And if you purchase these credits, you put on your tax return and you don't really qualify for it, tough luck. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about later is having good financial skills and financial acumen, or awareness. That way, when you see something like that, you're not desperate for it, and you can stop and say, let's figure this out first before just jumping for it. And this can save you a lot of money. Again, these scams, not necessarily a scam, but the trick is if people selling them, they can sell them to other individuals. But if you're purchasing them, make sure these are right for you and your business. So, got an interesting article, and this guy came across this, and I can be guilty of this too. This is from the New York Post, kind of a little bit of a reality check. It says the United States of America is still a beautiful place we call home. And for the most part, they're absolutely right. So, it's kind of a 4th of July patriotic article. And it talks about on our nation's birthday, let's step back and appreciate all that we have in the United States. They're saying because of the political polarization, it's easy to say, look, the sky is always falling, everything's, the president's fault, or, oh, look, to represent the numbers and inflation as something they're not. So it can be very much one-sided, one way or the other. And ignore these articles over here because that's part of it. So, again, too often we can have chicken littles on both sides of the aisle claiming, the sky is falling, we have to do this, Trump is Hitler, and liberals are trying to sell us out to China. So, the truth is somewhere in the middle, and we should always take a moment to step back and look at what, just appreciate what we have, especially on a 4th of July weekend. So she puts in here, she believes there's a debt of gratitude that exists in our country, and it's being exploited by those trying to push it. So this is by Adam Coleman, sorry. So we are still among the richest, most comfortable people in human history. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't people struggling. There are a lot of people struggling, and more so lately. But overall, we still enjoy many, many blessings. Again, we still are the most fortunate people, best opportunities to excel. Rather than, we should enjoy and focus on and be grateful for all the opportunities we do have in the country, rather than, he says, following the political extremism to burn a house down to kill a single mouse. The idea that we have to do this and cause a lot more problems. So again, he kind of figures, it's a short article saying it's masquerading too often in politics. It's cynicism masquerading as a campaign slogan, and this is very true of the media as well. This is America, though, was built on optimism. Consider all we as a nation have done and believe in what we can do now. So I think this is a good article. I think it's we do need to kind of take a step back, breathe, and get a different perspective on what's going on. So, yeah, again, things are tougher today, and we're going to go into quite a few articles about that. But we're also going to talk about how to survive and thrive when things are tough. So, next article, this is from the BBC, talking about Ireland. And Ireland, I've actually been surprised talking about Ireland, how they, on the Economic Freedom Index, they're really high up there. They're doing well, but they have a new struggle. They have too much money. So, the government collected 12 billion euros in corporate tax in the first half of 2024. It's up 50% from the same period in 2023. Why are they collecting so much? Because they have a very low tax rate, because they have very favorable tax systems, and their economic freedom index scores are encouraging other countries, other corporations to relocate to Ireland, which means more money for Ireland. And so there's been reforms to global tax rules, especially in Europe, where companies are paying most of their corporate tax in the country where they're located. So this is good news for Ireland because their tax system is very favorable to corporations. So a lot of corporations are located there, and again, they're getting. Last year, they raised 24 billion euros throughout the year, and they're expecting to make more this year. That was 3 times as much as what they brought in just 3 years ago. Oh no, 6 years ago. So that number is going up and up. And so they're like, okay, well, hold the phone. What do we do with this? And they want to be careful. They want to be smart financially with all this excess money they're having. I mean, we could use some of that, but it's just a drop in the bucket for us. And so one of the big things is, look, we have a strong economy, things are going well. Let's not let the government mess it up, which is what the government is really good at. So they're like, the economy is already operating at full capacity. They're saying, let's not just blow the money. Let's not just throw the money into the economy, because then, they already have some inflation going on, but that's because their economy is doing very well. Some inflation is actually a little bit healthy for an economy. As long as it's doing well and people have jobs, you're going to see some inflation, but that's because people have more money, and a little bit of inflation is actually healthy. They want to be careful about not fueling too much inflation. So a lot of criticism and talk going back, we have this, let's not just do a big giveaway before the next elections coming up, saying it could just lead to inflation going up again. So some of the better ideas are tax cuts. And then other people are asking for spending increases. Government spending increases usually do lead to more inflation. But I'm sure there's some services that could use that. So they have to find a balance there. And they're weighing these things with their economy. So we're at a hard break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So we're just going to jump to the next article, and this is actually a series of articles from the Epic Times doing exactly what that other guy was complaining about, a little bit of Chicken Little here. But it's important to really understand what's going on in our economy, because while we are still very blessed, more and more people are struggling, and it's important to note that. It's important to make wise decisions moving forward based on that information. So, first article here talking about unemployment numbers that just came out. So, this came out in July on the 3rd. So again, coming from the Department of Labor, they're just looking at these. And so the total number of people collecting unemployment rose to 1.86 million for the week of June 22nd. So again, that's the highest since November 2021. Again, not the direction we want to be heading. So following and tracking jobless claims is, essentially how we get an idea of what's going on with layoffs. We went from 234 slightly up to 238,000. Um, concern is that it's been rising steadily after mostly remaining below 220,000 this year. So now those claims are going up. People are again, it's things have been a little crazier, and jobs have not been as secure lately. So there was a rebound in hiring in leisure and hospitality. Most people, more people are getting out a little bit, but again, without that, it would have been even a worse month. So, and then job creation is down in June, only 150,000. So, understanding where we're going in the economy is all about tracking where we are compared to other points and other numbers. So that's why it's so important to have an idea of what's going on. I'm not going to dive into this too much. This article's pretty much done. But the Federal Reserve is definitely paying attention to these numbers. And here's the important comment right here. If talking about when is the Federal Reserve actually going to cut rates? They might not cut rates anytime soon. And there's even some comments, as we're going to get to, that they might actually increase rates if things continue to look soft. So they said, well, we are well aware that if we go too soon, cutting rates, that we can undo the good work we've done. And if we do it too late, we could unnecessarily undermine the recovery and expansion. So if you think the Fed really knows what they're doing, guess again. It is taking educated guesses, getting the information, weighing all the numbers, and seeing which direction the economy is going. If it's still a weak economy, if there's still issues going on, they'll probably keep interest rates high. Well, I'm sorry, if inflation continues to go, they'll keep inflation high, but if the economy gets too weak, they've probably been keeping it too high for too long, and they might start cutting rates. But if they cut rates, easy money policies, again, it just puts them right back in the same situation. So it's a balancing act, and sometimes no action is better. The main reason for that is, at least if you don't take any action, at least you're being consistent, and consistency, even if it's bad news overall, can be good for the economy. So jumping to the next article, also from the New York Times, Business and Markets, they warn, hey, if inflation persists, we might continue to hike things. So again, you're hearing different articles, different Fed rates saying different things. Why? Because are they experts? Do they know? Or is this practice, like a doctor's practice or an attorney's practice, where there's no guarantees? They're figuring things out as they go and trying to balance things. So this is why a lot of people think if they just get rid of the Fed and the government messing with the interest rates, that it could actually be healthy for the economy. That's not a mainstream opinion, though, but it has some merit. Anyway, so at the June policy meeting, they said if inflation remains elevated or continues to rise, they might need to raise rates. So they're not ready to cut interest rates until they have greater confidence that inflation is going to go back to the 2% goal, which is a long-term goal. Under 2% is seen as a fairly healthy inflation rate. Main numbers were actually going in that direction, but there's a lot of conflicting information coming from the government, and the government's numbers are cooked. And everybody knows that real inflation is nowhere close to 2%. And that's the interesting thing, is that the government has the CPI, the PCI, and they just excluded the things that are the most volatile. The cost of someone is going up. I talked to someone the other day. They're paying $500 a month for car insurance. Oh, I was just like, ouch. And it's going up across the board just because all of the costs, and you can hide them from many things, but you can't hide them from the ones that are actually paying for it. and insuring people on that, and that's insurance companies. They're the ones that get hit with these increased costs, and so their actuaries are doing real numbers, and that's one of the reasons that interest rates or insurance rates are going up and up. So again, it talks about a lot of the same articles, the same concerns, and so that's why you're getting different information. But from what I'm hearing, a consensus is that we're not planning on reducing rates um, anytime soon. We're going to be very careful about that, and then they actually might increase rates. So buckle up. Long term, I think higher inflation, higher interest rates are here for a while. Why? The biggest elephant in the room, which nobody is serious about taking care of. Again, Republicans can talk a good game, but when they get in office, they don't really tend to do much about the budget, about being serious about it. So let's see what happens with the next election and see if either party is serious about actually addressing the budget. So this next article goes more towards financial independence. 3 out of 4 Americans, people are hurting. It's not the sky is falling. We still are the most comfortable nation in the world. We still have amazing blessings here, which is why people still immigrate to the country in huge numbers. But homelessness has become a bigger issue. People struggling to get by. People are cutting back on their spending. It is a real thing out there that's affecting more and more people. So this is according to a bank rate report. People are not feeling financially secure, and that they need to make more money to maintain their lifestyle. They need more money to feel secure. On average, they're saying they need to make $186,000. So that's a lot. And I was just talking to someone the other day. They were making around $80,000, and they're saying that used to be just fine. That was more than enough to support a family. Today, with the cost of housing, with the cost of food and everything going up, $80,000 doesn't go nearly as far as it used to. So, and that was the average full-time worker made in 2022. So people making $200,000, if you're making $186,000, you're not doing just fine. You're doing something seriously wrong. And then in that, out of the 75% that said they weren't financially secure, almost half of them felt that they would reach financial security one day. 30% is like, I don't think I'll ever be financially secure. So what keeps people financially secure? What really helps them and helps people to be financially secure? And believe it or not, it's not about how much money you make. It really isn't. So older generations believed that they're less financially secure than younger generations, maybe because they've been through it and they've seen what really needs to be done and how much they haven't done. 42% of baby boomers, 30% of Gen Xers, from age 44 to 59 said they were not financially secure and didn't think they would ever be. And then 20% of millennials. And then Gen Z, age 18 to 27, only 13%. I think this is one of the things that we've done a horrible job at in this country is teaching financial literacy. So a lot of them, the younger ones, they don't know. They haven't learned these lessons. They don't understand the economy. They don't understand what needs to be done to become financially independent. So this is a very interesting quote. It's going to get to really the crux of the issue is life always seems like it'd be a bit better with just a little bit more money to spare. But the question is, it's not the real question here is it's not about how much money you make, it's how much is you're spending more than your income. If you're spending more than you're making, it doesn't matter if you're making 100,000 or $1 million. I've seen people making $1 million that were still struggling financially and having a tough time getting ahead. It's all about your spending. If your spending is more, and that comes down to habits, it comes down to are you planning financially for that? I mean, it really comes down to a bunch of different issues here. It becomes harder when, even more true when everyday items are climbing in price, you have a lot of inflation, it gets a lot tougher to do that. So I'm not going to focus on this article so much, but this dovetails nicely into our main topic for the day, and I think this is a great thing. So here we have in California becomes the 26th state to now require students take a personal finance class in high school. Now, California watered down theirs a little bit to kind of get it through and approved. So you can either take an economics course or financial literacy course. I think economics is great, but depending on the class. When I was in high school, I had a good teacher. I liked him, but we ended up playing Monopoly. I mean, we did investments on the stock market. We did other things like that. But I think as I've matured and what I've seen as a tax attorney, I think I would have benefited more from a personal finance class. And this is something that we don't teach in our schools. You know, all kinds of people talk about how we don't teach people how to do taxes. We don't teach people how to budget. We don't teach everyday practical knowledge that really helps people out. So again, so they say more than half of your states, it just hit 26 out of 50. So technically, yes, but I think this is a huge, good step. Kudos to Gavin Newsom and the California legislature for agreeing to this and signing on. Doesn't list which other states are requiring this, but it's a course on how to manage money according to a nonprofit spearheading these efforts. So they learn about the cost of living, how to balance their budget, file taxes, managing checking savings accounts. It gets into a lot more what they're going to study, but it's at least a semester class. And I think this is really good. I think it's great that people learn more, get more involved, and financial literacy. So this is something that I definitely push and encourage my clients to develop these skills. And we're gonna talk about how to find information and answers on a lot of these. So then they talk about the cost of this. I think the cost is fairly minor. It's a one-time cost of $271,000 to develop the course and curriculum, etc. But I think, and they're requiring it for charter schools too, which I think is a good thing. Financial literacy is something that we're definitely lacking in this country. So it goes into a little bit more of the details, but we're not going to. It's not going to really be fully in effect until the 2030-31 school year, so that's quite a ways away, but hopefully they start offering this course much sooner. So I have been lucky and privileged to be part of an organization called Junior Achievement. And I'm going to go ahead and share their website, and it's a charity that I've been on the local board for, and I think I just want to plug them for a second here, because this is exactly what they do. And this is the donate to us page. Here in Arizona, this is Junior Achievement of Arizona, but it's across the country. What they do is they teach financial literacy to kids. And here in Arizona, they offer dollar for dollar credit to donate. But the whole thing is why Junior Achievement. It's about they offer programs where volunteers go into classrooms and teach basic financial literacy, K through 12. So in kindergarten, of course, you're not teaching the same thing as a senior in high school, but you get to go in there, and it's actually a lot of fun. My wife and I have done it, and I know plenty of people that do this and donate their time regularly to Junior Achievement. And this is just one of many organizations. But we've gone in and with second, third graders, taught lessons on the difference between wants and needs. Just doing a little bit of budgeting. Where are we going to put our money? Are we going to spend it all, or are we going to save for the future? And the interesting thing is that these kids make amazing decisions. Where do they put their money? Where do they want their money to go to? And so learning, they have a lot of J alumni success stories. 53% have started or owned a business. I mean, just the idea is teach entrepreneurship and financial literacy to kids, and to start young, continue all the way through high school, and offer these programs. I've actually gone and volunteered at it was an event where they needed professionals to come to the event as volunteers, and they were doing resume writing, they were doing interview practices for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And one of the things that they had like a little networking thing that I participated in, where the kids had a list of questions that they needed to kind of check off. But they were going and they were shaking hands and talking directly face to face with the volunteers there. And so a lot of these high schoolers were very impressive. They were clean cut. They looked good. They were sharp. They looked you directly in the eye, shook your hand. And I thought, what an amazing program. I was very impressed from the start. Again, there's ways to volunteer, and it's not just in Arizona, it's across the country, but there's plenty of other organizations like that trying to bring financial literacy to kids. And again, I think that's why I'm very tickled to read that article about 26 states requiring personal finance classes. I think this is very, very important for individuals to know and understand. So we're at another break, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everybody. And yes, I left the junior achievement page open. So if you have any questions, you can look into it. You can volunteer, you can donate. Um, some states have matching. So, like for Arizona, you can either send your tax money to the state or you can send the same tax dollars to a charitable organization like Junior Achievement. There's plenty of charitable organizations doing amazing work out there. And I think too often in our days, Americans don't just get involved as much as we used to. So um, I'm going to stop sharing this. I've got a video. This isn't going to be as fun as most of the videos that I share or try to share. I try to make them fun, but this one is directly about financial literacy. And so we're going to get that started for you.
In the first 3 episodes, Mr. Smart.
But I should share that page first. So let's go ahead and bring up this video.
Has discussed in detail about poverty, paying yourself first, and making money without work. Now, let's...
A little bit of side note here. This is kind of an infomercial, but it's a good overview about what is financial literacy and just things to consider.
Let's answer this question. What is financial literacy? Financial literacy is the ability to make smart financial decisions which result into desired financial outcomes. It is not about knowing the stats and complex financial concepts. It is simply the ability to make right financial decisions in personal finance. It is quite possible that a college dropout is more financially literate and successful than a PhD or MBA.
On that note, it's not only possible, but it happens all the time that either a college dropout or someone in the trades, again, there's plenty of hardworking trades and jobs where, again, it's all about managing your money well. That leads to financial success. I've represented doctors, lawyers, people making plenty of money, business owners with plenty of money coming in. And if they don't manage it well, they end up struggling financially just as much as other people. So again, this is not an education thing. This is practical education.
In fact, educational institutions focus only on scholastic and professional training. They do not teach about money and finances. That is the reason why so many brilliant physicians, engineers, accountants, lawyers, artists, and civil servants struggle in their financial life. They know how to earn money, but they don't know how to manage money well. Schools and colleges train kids to be hardworking and diligent employees who follow rules and procedures. So the financial training is entirely left to parents. Or the cold, practical world teaches the basic lessons of money in a hard way. Why not start educating yourself about money matters and learn these skills in a soft way? Otherwise, the rich will continue to get richer and the poor poorer. The rich will surely teach their kids the financial matters themselves, while the poor kids will never learn these lessons.
This isn't exactly true. There are plenty of spoiled rich kids blowing all their money and end up in financial hardship when they run out of their parents' money. It's really up to each individual not only be taught these things, but also to have the wherewithal to understand and apply them. It takes financial will to do these right and actually apply good financial literacy to your own life.
Let us exercise our mind to grow it like a bodybuilder exercises his muscles in a gym. Some people misunderstand that money is wealth, but money may come and go. The only sustainable wealth is financial education, experience, and training. This wealth will never leave you. If you go broke sometime in your life and lose all your money, you can acquire even more money by your financial education, acumen, and training. That is your real wealth. Concept of assets and liabilities is a cornerstone of financial education and literacy. It is a necessity to understand an income statement and balance sheet to fully grasp the concept of assets and liabilities. Income statements show earnings and expenses over a period of time, such as a month or a year. Balance sheets must balance assets on one hand and liabilities plus equity on the other hand at a point in time. Here, an asset in the balance sheet will produce income which is recorded in the income statement, while a liability in the balance sheet will create an expense which is again recorded in the income statement. Your target should be buying income-creating assets. Your house in which you are living is not an income-producing asset. If you have availed a loan from the bank to buy this house, you will pay a mortgage to the bank every month. Even if you've bought your house without any loan, your house will incur expense to maintain it. Only a house which is producing rental income is an income-producing asset. It is certainly good to own the house in which you are living, but it is even better to own a house which is producing passive income for you. Knowing the difference between assets and liabilities is one of the important concepts which make you financially literate. There are many other concepts like budgeting, savings, insurance, and debt, which you should properly understand to make smart financial decisions. Mr. Smart will make a complete series of animated lessons for you about financial literacy. Once it is uploaded, its link will be given in the description. Now let us summarize what you have learned in this episode. 1. Financial literacy is the ability to make smart financial decisions which result in desired financial outcomes. 2. Educational institutions focus only on scholastic and professional training. They do not teach about money and finances. 3. The only sustainable wealth is financial education and training. 4. An asset in the balance sheet will produce income which is recorded in the income statement, while a liability in the balance sheet will create an expense which is again recorded in the income statement. Dear viewers, do you think that financial literacy is necessary for financial freedom and success? Is it necessary to earn an MBA to be financially smart? Or is a degree in finance or business education a guarantee that you can make financially smart decisions? Do you want a complete series of animated lessons?
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop there because then that's where it really goes into the infomercial stage. And if you want, there's plenty of online videos. There's plenty of information out there for people to, if you want to get more educated on financial literacy. Some of this, by adults, we figured out how to checking accounts, how do savings work. But the interest rate on checking accounts, I've sat there and my wife, she's not, I'm the tax guy. She manages our budget and does all the number crunching there, which, I'm not a details guy, but we have our strengths that we work together. But I've had to sit down multiple times and explain how taxes work, how little interest we're actually getting from the bank. So in our bank accounts, we're actually losing money due to inflation and how that affects us and how to improve and do better with that. It's just, there's so much out there. First of all, you can study on your own. There are plenty of financial coaches out there. So there are people that follow the Dave Ramsey program. There's plenty of different programs that are out there. There are people that have kind of made their own program as well. And I think just talking to someone, learning the basics, having someone help you make sure that you're doing it right can save you so much time in the long run. And not so much time, but help you build your financial house. And so that way you can be comfortable. It's not how much you make, it's how much you spend compared to how much you make. And unfortunately, we see people all the time that get to a point where they're retired, something happens, an emergency happens, they're not prepared. And sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes stuff happens, like they said, if you go broke sometime through your life, which sometimes this happens, someone gets sick, someone passes away, you go through a bad divorce. One of the biggest things that impoverishes people is divorce. And I've been divorced myself. It hurts financially, but getting through that and being able to get back on your feet and reestablish yourself is very important. So that way you're not stuck in that cycle of poverty for you and your kids. Doesn't mean you have to be wealthy enough to go and take cruises and go travel the world and all that. But to have the freedom to go and enjoy your life where you are, to go see the sights, to get out and be involved in good, healthy activities, that is all positive. And not only does it help benefit you personally, being involved in the community helps your community and helps people be happier. So again, financial literacy is absolutely key. And when I talk to people that have their budgets, have their issues together, if they do owe tax, it's usually just a one-time thing. We deal with that one-time issue and then they move forward. But what more often than not, and what is a lot more typical, is people don't have a good grasp on their financial situation. They don't know what their budget is compared to the monthly expenses, and that's where it absolutely pays in avoiding penalties and interest, avoiding getting rid of bad credit card debt. It helps in so many different ways. My only brother, my younger brother, called me the other day, and he had a financial question. He's like, "Look, I've got to pay off these attorneys. Should I go and take out a loan? Should I take out a loan on my home to pay them off?" And I said, "What? Why would you incur all the fees and the interest?" I mean, his first question, he was told, oh no, he was going to take it out of his 401k and get hit with penalties. I don't know what's going on with the brightness on the video. Sorry about that. But I said, don't take the money out of your 401k. You're going to get it smacked with a 10% penalty. It's going to increase your taxes for the real year. There's so many different things. I said, look, just go set up a payment plan with the attorney's office. Pay them what you can. And as long as you're paying them something, they're usually happy and they'll give you time. Yes, do they want their money up front? But I mean, he's going through a bad divorce, and again, just a lot of costs going through that, and that's really hurting him and his family financially. He's now remarried and doing very well as far as his family. But again, that burden, when you have these burdens, how do you pay things actually makes a huge difference. And so one of the big mistakes I see people out there is that they go and they put huge balances on credit cards thinking they need to pay stuff off. Usually a mistake. Usually a big mistake. Credit cards are most of the time not the answer. And the government wants you to just pay them, but the government is not interested in your long-term financial health. They're absolutely not. And so they will very often ask people to do stuff that hurts them in the short term and in the long term financially. So that's why it's so important to learn these financial lessons. If you have questions, there's plenty of online programs. You can go on and watch plenty of online videos. Will they try to sell you a program? Yes, they will. But again, there's a lot of free information out there. And the hard part is a lot of times you don't know who to talk to. So again, I do work with financial coaches. There are financial planners as well. But a financial coach will get in the nitty gritty and help you, whereas most financial planners focus on investing. So there's different level of services there, whereas a coach will help you draft your budget, save and pay down high income debt or high interest credit cards, personal loans, etc., and get you a debt-free position where you can invest in your future. And so it's very, very key lessons to learn here. And you can also go on the radio, listen to some of these shows that are online. It's usually on AM radio, or on the weekends you can catch some of these financial investing shows and add to your financial literacy. If they put you to sleep, that's why you hire a coach. Some of it puts me to sleep. I mean, it's just like, okay, I'm not a CPA for a reason. I excel where I am, but again, I see the results of people that not having good financial literacy. And just because you have a CPA doesn't mean you should just trust him and feel like he's never going to mess things up. You should always know enough to verify that what they're doing is what is in your best interest, because when you saw that dotted line on the tax return, who's ultimately responsible? You are. And again, I just had another big case I was talking about the other day where someone trusted their CPA, they put things in their hands, and what was claimed and what was going on was very much not the truth. And the CPA firm is getting investigated, and he didn't do a quick Google search beforehand to find out more about who these people really were before he hired them. So a lot of these things that I talk about, I see it affecting real people, and I would much rather people, our families, individuals, had the financial acumen, or that they're learning the financial acumen. We should be lifelong learners. And again, this is all things that will help you. If you're older in life, it can help you through retirement, and you can share this with your children and grandchildren and say, hey, this is really helping me out. Let's share some of that information. And again, that's really where we help our future generations, is help them learn good financial acumen and decisions that will help them throughout their life. So I hope everybody had a happy 4th. I hope you enjoy this weekend. Spend some more time with your family, and then let's get educated. Let's learn about financial literacy. That's not the focus of this show, but I think it's really important. And my goal is within the next couple weeks to have a financial coach on to talk to you and share some of the things that you can learn and how it can benefit you to learn and become more financially literate. So again, have a great weekend, have a great day, and we will see everybody with more tax news, more exciting stories come Monday morning. And I'm already seeing more news come out about the unemployment rates, etc. So we'll have more for you Monday morning. But in the meantime, enjoy your weekend, shut off the news, and have a great day.